As the sun rose, casting golden hues across the land, I found the Buddha seated under the banyan tree. His eyes glistened with the serenity of one who understands the nature of all things. I approached him with reverence, my thoughts heavy with the weight of my doubts and insecurities. "Master," I began, bowing low before him, "I am burdened by the fear of failure that resides within my heart." He began, "My dear ones, the desire to connect with others springs from the innermost depths of the heart's longing." His voice carried a tranquility that silenced even the murmuring wind. "Often, we walk among others but carry an invisible wall within, separating our hearts," he continued. "This wall is made of fear, of judgment, of misunderstanding, yet it is not permanent." The disciples nodded slightly, each reflecting on their own barriers. The Buddha then turned his gaze toward an old man seated near the edge of the circle. "You," he said gently, "have spent many seasons laboring for the village. Tell us, do you feel truly connected?" The old man hesitated, his hands weathered from years of toil clutching his robe. "Master," he replied, "I work to sustain others. Yet often I feel unseen, like a shadow on the periphery of their lives." The Buddha listened, his silence inviting the man to continue. "I wish to feel their gratitude, their presence, but all I hear is the silence of my own heart," the man said. The Buddha inclined his head. "Your honesty is the beginning of your journey. To feel connected, you must first see the invisible thread," he said. He pressed his fingers into the vessel, reshaping it into something new, something more refined. "Master," I asked, my curiosity piqued, "what if the potter loses patience and discards the clay altogether?" The Buddha's eyes sparkled with a hint of a smile. "A true potter," he said, "understands that even discarded clay can find purpose anew." He placed the reshaped vessel on the ground and looked directly into my eyes. "Without it, connection remains a fleeting illusion." His words lingered, weaving into the thoughts of each listener. "But Master," a young disciple interjected, "how can we cultivate this compassion when our minds are filled with our own struggles and desires?" The Buddha smiled, his expression soft yet profound. "Begin by seeing your struggles mirrored in others," he replied. "What you endure, they endure in their own way." He raised a hand, as if cradling an unseen world. "The wind carries no burden of expectation. It simply flows, adapting to obstacles in its path." Then, he pointed to a farmer in the circle, a man whose face bore the lines of labor under the sun. "You feed the village," the Buddha said. "Each grain you plant carries the potential to nourish life. Yet you feel apart from those you serve." The farmer bowed his head. "Yes, Master, I give my labor, but I feel only the burden, not the connection to others." Ananda wiped his eyes, feeling a glimmer of relief in the presence of the Buddha's clarity and compassion. "Blessed one, your words have given me courage to face my pain and begin mending my heart," Ananda said. He then leaned closer, his voice lowering to a near whisper. "Shame arises when you confuse your actions with your essence," he said. "You are not your failures." The weight of his words settled over me, a profound truth I had not considered before. Compassion is not merely an act, it is a state of being, an intention that flows from the heart, he said. The wind stirred the leaves above, as if echoing his words. To feel connected, transform your actions into expressions of love and understanding. See the divine in every face, he added. He paused, allowing silence to deepen the impact of his teaching. The disciples, now lost in thought, felt the stirrings of something profound within their hearts. The Buddha stood and walked to the edge of the circle, where a small child played with fallen petals. He knelt beside the child, his robe pooling like water around him. "My little one," he said, his voice gentle, "why do you gather these petals?" The child looked up, her eyes bright with innocence. "I want to make something beautiful," Master, she replied. The Buddha smiled. And in your wish for beauty, you connect with the world around you, he said. This is compassion in its purest form. A desire to add to the joy of others. He took a single petal and held it up for the disciples to see. A simple act, yet it carries the essence of connection, he said. Do not dismiss the small gestures. They are the building blocks of unity. Returning to his seat, the Buddha spoke again, his tone more profound. My dear ones, the thread of compassion weaves through every being. Recognize it, and you shall never feel alone. The disciples bowed their heads, the truth of his words settling like dew on their hearts. The old man, the farmer, the child, all found new clarity in their own ways. The sun began its descent, casting golden light on the Sangha, as if blessing the teachings shared that day. The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as if in silent communion with the universe itself. When he opened them, he said, the path to connection begins within. Nurture compassion, and the walls will fall, revealing the oneness beneath. The disciples dispersed slowly, each carrying the lesson as a seed within their hearts, ready to bloom in time. The Buddha remained under the Bodhi tree, a beacon of infinite love and wisdom. The leaves rustled once more, a whisper of the timeless truth he had shared. The thread of compassion, though unseen, would bind them all, forever. Another day, as the first rays of dawn embraced the Sangha, the disciples gathered under the Bodhi tree once more. The air carried the scent of blooming jasmine, mingling with the faint hum of early morning life. The Buddha sat in stillness, radiating tranquility as his gaze softened with quiet wisdom. A woman stepped forward, clutching a small bowl in her hands, its surface cracked yet carefully mended. Master, she began, her voice trembling, I try to help others, but I feel no deeper bond. The merchant hesitated, confused by the request, but he obeyed, wading cautiously into the murky water. As he searched, his feet sank into the muddy bottom, and his hands sifted through the muck. Do you see the bowl for what it was, or for what it is now? The woman hesitated. I see its flaws, Master. I see where it broke, she admitted, lowering her gaze. The Buddha nodded gently. Such is the nature of perception, he said. We focus on the cracks, forgetting the essence that endures. He turned to the disciples and spoke with quiet conviction. Compassion, my dear ones, begins with seeing wholeness amid imperfection. The heart connects when it embraces the journey, not just the moment. Nearby, a young disciple raised his hand, his expression eager yet uncertain. Master, he said, how can we understand others fully when their lives are hidden from us? Their struggles remain unseen. The Buddha gestured toward a pond shimmering under the early sun. Approach the water, and tell me what you see, he instructed. The young disciple rose and gazed into the pond. I see my reflection. Master, he said. The Buddha walked toward him, his footsteps silent against the earth. Now disturb the surface, he instructed. The disciple complied, his hand causing ripples to disrupt the mirrored image. What do you see now? Asked the Buddha. Nothing clear, Master, replied the disciple. The ripples obscure everything. The Buddha smiled softly. Just as the water conceals its depth when disturbed, so do our judgments cloud our vision of others, he continued. To connect, you must still your mind and look beyond the surface. Compassion requires patience and quiet observation. The young disciple bowed his head, understanding dawning in his heart. As the Buddha returned to his seat, an elderly man spoke. Master, I have always acted with kindness, yet I feel no change in the world. The Buddha smiled, appreciating Ananda's unwavering curiosity and his desire to seek understanding in its fullest form. Ananda, to nurture trust, you must embrace kindness, not as a fleeting gesture but as a foundation of relationships, Buddha said. Some seeds sprout immediately, while others lie dormant until the right conditions arise. He gestured toward the bodhi tree, its roots deep and branches widespread. This tree began as a tiny seed, unseen beneath the earth for many seasons. Yet here it stands, sheltering us all. He then said, "Your kindness is no different, dear elder. It takes root in ways you may never witness. Trust in the unseen." The elder nodded slowly, his burden of doubt easing with the Buddha's words. "There was once a man," he began, "who carried a heavy burden upon his back. He believed it to be the source of his suffering. Yet he refused to set it down. True compassion is free of conditions. It is both the act and the fruit." A breeze stirred the leaves above, a gentle reminder of the interconnectedness the Buddha spoke of. "Consider the wind," he said. "It carries no desire, yet it touches every leaf and flower. Unseen but essential." At that moment, a child approached the circle, holding a clay lamp in her small hands. "Master," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "if I light this lamp, will it brighten the entire night?" The Buddha knelt beside her, his robes flowing like water around him. He placed his hand over hers, steadying the lamp. "This single lamp may not banish all darkness," he said, "but it offers light to those near it." He continued, "Compassion is like this lamp. It may seem small, yet its light reaches further than you imagine." The child smiled, her understanding as simple and profound as the act itself. The Buddha stood and addressed his disciples once more. "My dear ones, connection is not a grand gesture. It is the cumulative power of countless small acts of compassion." He pointed toward the horizon, where the sun climbed steadily, bathing the earth in light. Just as the sun rises one moment at a time, so too does compassion illuminate the world in gradual, unseen ways. The disciples pondered his words, their hearts opening to the boundless ripple of compassion he described. Another day, as the village lay quiet under a gray sky, the Buddha walked along a path of ash. A faint smell of smoke lingered in the air, a reminder of a devastating fire that had consumed much of the village. "They are one flame." Silence followed, a sacred pause that allowed his teachings to sink into the fertile ground of their spirits. The disciples bowed deeply, gratitude glowing in their expressions. The Buddha smiled, the embodiment of the truths he shared, before retreating to his place under the bodhi tree. As the day unfolded, the Sangha carried his words like precious gems, their hearts kindled by the light of understanding. The teachings of the Buddha, though ephemeral in sound, became eternal in their essence. The wind whispered through the leaves, carrying the message onward to all who would listen. The ripple of compassion began anew. "Loss is a heavy burden to bear," he acknowledged, "yet it carries within it the seeds of renewal." The woman shook her head, her sorrow deep and consuming. An elder disciple stepped forward, his voice steady with curiosity. "Master," he asked, "how can we overcome the illusion of separation and truly feel one with all beings?" The Buddha opened his eyes, their serene gaze resting on the elder. "My dear ones, the illusion of separation is born from the walls we build within ourselves," he began. He gestured toward the sky, where a flock of birds soared freely, their movements synchronized. "Do these birds fly apart or as one?" he asked. The elder disciple looked upward and replied, "Master, they fly together, their unity guiding them through the vast expanse." The Buddha nodded, his expression softened by understanding. "Just as the birds move as one, so must your heart embrace the boundlessness that connects all beings," he said. He paused, allowing the silence to carry the weight of his words before continuing. A young disciple approached, his expression thoughtful yet uncertain. "Master, how do we find this boundlessness when the self feels so powerful and separate?" he asked. The Buddha stood and walked to the edge of the pond nearby. its surface reflecting the stars beginning to emerge. He gestured for the young disciple to join him and asked, "Do you see the stars above? Their light reaching us from worlds beyond our comprehension?" The young disciple nodded, captivated by the vastness of the night sky. "Yes, Master. Their light feels endless, yet distant," he said. The Buddha crouched beside the water and touched its surface, causing ripples that shimmered under the starlight. "These stars, though distant, are mirrored here in the pond," he said. "Their essence remains, even when unseen," he continued. "Boundlessness is realizing that even the distant and unseen are within you, just as the stars reflect in the pond." The young disciple bowed, his heart opening to the profound truth unveiled in simplicity. A woman stepped forward, her hands clasped tightly as if holding onto an invisible burden. "Master," she asked, "how can I ensure that my rebirth will honor the life I have lost?" The Buddha's eyes sparkled with wisdom as he answered, "By carrying forward the lessons of your loss and using them to cultivate compassion and resilience." He pointed to a lotus blooming in the pond, its petals radiant despite the muddy waters beneath. "Consider the lotus," he said. "Its beauty arises not from separation but from its connection to the earth and water." The Buddha continued, "Boundlessness allows your true self to flourish, uniting with all while retaining its unique presence." The woman nodded, her fear replaced by a sense of calm understanding. The disciples listened intently, their hearts stirred by the wisdom unfolding around them. The Buddha paused by a small shrine that had miraculously survived the fire. Its surface was scorched, but the statue of the Buddha within remained intact. The stars above seemed to echo his words, their light shimmering as if in harmony with his teaching. A child approached hesitantly, her small hands holding a single grain of rice. "Master," she said, her voice trembling, "how can something so small hold any connection to the boundlessness you speak of?" The Buddha knelt beside her, his robe cascading like liquid light, and took the grain gently from her hands. "This grain," he said, "contains the life of the earth, the labor of the farmer, and the nourishment it provides. Strength comes not from avoiding sorrow, but from embracing it and allowing it to transform you." They continued walking until they reached a field where new shoots of grass were beginning to emerge. Returning to his seat, the Buddha spoke once more, "My dear ones, the path to boundlessness is paved with compassion, yet its destination lies in love that knows no limits." The wind stirred the leaves above, carrying his words outward like an eternal whisper. "To feel connected to others, you must dissolve the illusion of separation and embrace the truth of unity," he said. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts swelling with gratitude and understanding. The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, his presence radiant with the love that binds all beings. Under the canopy of stars, the disciples remained in silent reflection, their spirits awakening to the boundless connection that transcended the self. The Buddha sat as a beacon of unity, his teachings echoing through the infinite thread of existence. The night embraced the Sangha, its stillness profound yet alive with the ripple of compassion and love. The boundless heart of the Buddha illuminated the darkness, uniting all in its eternal light. The phoenix etched in the ashes lingered in her mind, a symbol of hope and resilience. The Buddha watched from a distance, his heart filled with quiet joy as he witnessed the woman embrace her journey. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.